Here we are, we're playing someone. Okay, finally got a white game. I've literally had like 10 straight black games. All right, 2592. That's good. It's time to go. Okay, we know this. Bishop g4, let's play e3. Is he going to play knight d7? Normally that's the only reason to start with bishop g4. Bro, my eye is killing me, man. There's something wrong with my left eye here. It's I think it's pollen or something in the air, but it's winter here in Argentina, so that it doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's some type of allergic reaction. I don't know. Let's challenge this pawn here. All right, knight c3. I just want to not let him play e5, because when he plays e5, he destroys me, a la Naroditsky. Knight f6 will play b3, bishop b2. These are interesting positions. I can't, yeah, I have to study the bird course. At some point, I will study the bird course. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just, I'm working like 5 jobs at the moment. I have to teach classes. I have to do this YouTube. I have to edit this YouTube. Yeah, my editor quit. And what else? I gotta do like 5 things. Anyway, it's time to go. This isn't the pity party hour. To be clear, this isn't the pity party hour. Let's play a3 here. Give me the bishop pair. Give me the second bishop, man. It's time to go. All right, very weird position. Bishops are going to be very blocked in here by these pawns, but at the same time, 2 bishops for 2 knights is a good deal in any chess market. This bishop is going to be awful, though, for a very long time. What is that? Oh, this is the Muzio. This is that Muzio trick. Tixi's going to play queen h4. That's a very sneaky trick. Yeah, this is going to be weird. That's a very good move, though. I completely missed that. Takes queen h4. Yeah, what is happening here? This is gonna get extremely bizarre. This is gonna get unbelievably bizarre. All right, a queen a4 takes. I don't like that so much. I don't like the idea of queen e4. I don't think that would be that much of an issue. These pawns look terrible, but they aren't fixed on dark squares, so I could remedy this bishop long term. Takes queen h4. I want to be able to make queen takes c4 with queen g4. To do that, I would have to play g3. This is bizarre. All right, I'll just play queen. Let's just play queen e2. We'll figure out the rest later. This is going to be extremely strange. He could check me. My king is just going to run this way. I don't think that would be a problem. Very weird stuff at the moment. I'm shocked that he found this. This is a very interesting idea. He must have seen this in a previous game. Maybe he saw my video on the Bird Muzio. Bird Muzio Gambit. Okay, we'll play king d1 here. Bro, better take. He doesn't take. It doesn't make any sense. I guess he's going to castle queenside. I don't think this is that bad. My bishop eventually is going to be decent on a3. Knight e7, I should play rook b1, though. We got to get as many tempi as possible. Honestly, I am playing with some risk here. If I let him develop and, if I let him put the knight on e7 castle and develop the rooks on the d file, I would be much worse here. I would have a lot of weaknesses on the d file, and there would not really be any answer. If I ever play d4, I'm weakening a lot more squares. I mean, we're waiting here, pal. It's time to go. I can't take all day. I got places to be and people to see. Queen e7, that's a weird move. I mean, that's asking for a4. Yeah, we have to play a4 here. We have to make space for bishop a3. There. I could play queen d4 here. That would be interesting. Yeah, let's play bishop a3. Queen d4 now. Queen b4 also looks good. I like queen d4. This is going to be bizarre. I'm going to have this enormous... I'm going to have 6 on 4 in between these files. That's going to be a very weird structural dynamic there. Ultimately, my bishop has an open diagonal. I don't think I could be that much worse. It's just going to be very weird. I don't even think I could be worse, honestly. It's gonna be extremely strange. Neither of us can really use each other's. Neither of us can really use our pawn majorities. His queenside majority is gonna be a struggle to use. My kingside majority is also gonna be a struggle. Knight d5, okay. Yeah, let's start advancing. Let's play rook b1 first of all. Just make sure, I want to make sure that his queenside cannot be utilized that quickly. King e2, I'll put my king on f3. I'm going to start expanding over here. I don't want to push these pawns yet. If I push this pawn, then I'm creating a weakness here. We're going to be patient. Got to be patient, got to be humble. Yeah, this is really strange. Okay, he wants to play h4. I have no idea what to make of this position. Like king f3, h4, that pawn might become weak. Like there I could even play e4 and bishop e7 to win this pawn, but then d4 is going to become weak. Okay, I'll prevent it. Let's just play g3. If h4, I have g4. G3 is a very nice non-committal move, right? I can always mate h4 with g4. I could still play for g4 at some point. Okay, that's a very bad move because now my bishop should be able to sit on e5. We're just going to have to wait for the right moment, but eventually it will be able to sit on e5. Yeah, what are we doing here? Let's play king f3. This looks great. And by this looks great, I mean this looks extremely complicated. I don't think white could ever be worse here. I'm going to play g4. Ultimately, if we trade all these pawns off, he's left with these really ugly pawns on g7 and e6 here. Do I need to worry about anything here? No. The beautiful thing about this structure here is that these pawns are just all defending one another. The only way he could target it is by getting to this pawn, but how would he ever get to the base pawn? How's he ever going to do that? He can't do it, man. He's not a magician. Bro's got to cool it with the tricks. Okay, yeah, this is looking good. I guess he's going to try g6. I think that's what he has to do. Yeah, okay. I could play g5 is committal, right? G5 is very committal, but actually no, g5 is good though. I'm going to install my rook on h6. I can use that as a launch pad. Yeah, this is looking really good. Once I play rook h6, like at that point, if he ever takes there, I take and I get a really strong pass pawn. He could play rook h5, but then I'll trade, I'll play rook h1. I don't think I have anything to worry about there. Ultimately, my king is much better here. There. I don't see what that does. I could play a5 now. Yeah, let's play a5. Let's just make sure that these pawns stay split. If he wants to ever push, if he ever wants to mobilize this majority, he's going to have to split his pawns in half now. Technically, this might become a weakness, but I don't see how his knight would ever get to this square. Right? Like, how is it ever going to get there? It's never going to be able to get through this. All right, let's play rook h6 now. It's time to go. Is he going to take? Takes, rook h8, rook h1. That looks... No, this is very risky for him. This is very... If he plays knight f6... Dude, this is a very risky position. Okay, well here... If I play h7, knight f6... We have to start breaking through on another part of the board now. If I play e4 takes, that doesn't... Yeah, we got to be a little careful about how we do it. He's going to play knight f6, though. Knight f6 is actually going to be very annoying. Yeah, what am I doing here? Bishop b2 actually looks very sneaky. I mean, this is just a very weird position here. d3, knight f6. I could play bishop b2. He plays knight g4, h7, knight f6, d5. He takes on h7. I don't have anything there. This is very tricky. I could play bishop c5 just to wait him out. If knight f6, we play... What do we play? I could play rook b1 there. He has to play king c7, bishop e7, and then bishop g5. This is just a mess. This is a complete mess. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, knight f6, knight g4 is a very annoying move. If I play h7, knight f6, d5, the whole idea is I'm clearing this out. No, that's not going to work yet. h7, knight f6, rook h6, rook h7, rook g6. That looks good. But then he plays knight e4. Then I play d3. He checks. I play king g2. I think that works. I think we have to try h7 here. h7, if he plays king e8, what I would do there is I could play d3. All right, I'm going to play h7 here. I think this works. If knight f6, I have time for rook h6. I have to be a bit careful also because just he could play rook h7 to park the pawn here. No, rook h7, I always have bishop f8. This is going to be very interesting to analyze. Knight f6, okay, we'll play rook h6. Yeah, ultimately, if I can break through my rook on the 7th, I should have other chances. This is a bizarre position, though. All right, he doesn't really have a choice here. If he takes with the knight, I play d5, takes, and bishop b2, and I'm winning material. Dude really has to take with the rook here. Yeah, we'll take this way. Has to play knight e4. Then I play d3. If he checks, I play king g2. He's losing that. There. Let's play... What are we going to play here? Let's get the king out of the way. Let's play king e2. Got to get my king over. I have to be a little careful, though. Look at this. Check there. Takes, takes, and then rook h3, and he's breaking through. That's ridiculous. Rook h2, I'm going to have to play king d1. Yeah, I see the trick, buddy. It's not working on me, pal. Long term, I'm getting my king over to the right side of the board. With my king over here, I'll be able to protect a lot of things. Yeah, this is a bizarre position here. I should put the bishop on c5 as soon as I can. I don't see what that move does. That just seems silly. Let's just play rook g8 here. Knight b5, I guess I'm going to play bishop c5. I just need to make sure his knight doesn't get to c4. That's the only thing that matters. I think it was better for him to keep his knight on d5 here. Because at least then I couldn't really push these. What, I'm going to play rook b8 now. What was that about? This just looks losing now. Yeah, this looks losing. I think his position was already really tough, though. All right, nice. That was a good win. Okay, that's an interesting graph. Yeah, I definitely felt I risked a bit, but very interesting graph, honestly. Let's look at this game. All right, so f4, we got all this. This is normal. c4, knight c3. I thought a3 was fine. Apparently, computer's saying this is better. That's bizarre. I don't know. Yeah, computer is hopped up on something. I don't understand that. C takes is not good. You do not want to take here and let them take. You don't want to give them a Carlsbad structure if you have this. Ultimately, they're just going to get good play on the e4 square. So a3 takes, 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 takes. He played knight e5. I was supposed to take here. Interesting. Queen h4, queen f2, takes, and then what? Yeah, what's the plan here? Rook b1. Interesting. Look at that. We're attacking b7. From knight e7, I just take. What is the deal here, though? If b6, what's the problem? Rook b4. I'm mobilizing. Look at this. Rook b4, he plays something like queen d5. What are we going to do? Castles? Yeah, the initiative just continues. Once we kick his queen off this diagonal, I can castle. Wow, that's amazing. I did not see this. I was looking a lot at this position, and I wanted to get a situation like this with queen g4. I thought that this structure could be very interesting because we're going to have a lot of open files. Ultimately, though, I just thought my pawns were a little bit too inflexible here. Some announcement going out on the street. It's weird. Reminds me of being in Turkey with the mosque call. And honestly, it sounds like a mosque call. But I know it's Argentina, so that doesn't make any sense. There can't be mosque calls in Argentina. All right, so I played queen e2. This is definitely a miss. Bro played check. I did this. He traded. I thought I was a little worse here. I didn't think it was the end of the world, though. 0.8 seems a bit excessive. I thought it was maybe 0.3. Apparently, he should play knight f6 here. If I play rook b1, he checks. I go here, and then what? What is the plan here? Ah, he checks, and then he wins this pawn. Yeah, he's winning some pawns here. And he's going to win pawns. My king is still a little bit weak. My king is still in the center. Yeah, this has to be bad. Like rook e1, rook d8. My queen is getting kicked around. I'm not even winning this pawn back yet. Computer says I should play bishop b2 to try to play rook g1 and get some counterplay, but this is still a really bad position. Yeah, rook d8, rook g1. Queen f3. Ultimately, both sides, kings are a little bit weak here, but he is up a pawn. He has good control of the light squares at the moment. This has to be worse. All right, so man played queen e7. This is definitely a mistake here. I was really happy to see that. Like, once queen e7 happens, you know you're out of the cabbage patch. a4, very important move. We need to get this bishop out. This bishop needs to get activated on two diagonals, right? One of two diagonals. It could be either of these, but because now I've blocked this pawn from advancing, it's going to have to be this other one. So yeah, a4 is a beautiful move. Queen d7, bishop a3, knight e7, queen d4. I was really happy with this. This is a very interesting structure now. I'm hitting the queen, hitting the pawn. He pretty much has to go to an ending. And in case y'all didn't realize, if we go to an endgame, the fact that my king is in the center does not matter at all, especially behind this nice wall of pawns here. I've got the big blob of pawns. It's like the Iron Man suit. It's not gonna, my king is gonna be completely invulnerable in the Iron Man suit here. He'll be able to hop around without worry, right? The rooks cannot move through pawns, and so how are they ever gonna be able to attack the king? My king's gonna be like a fine shepherd, helping out these pawns as they go up the board. All right, so knight d5, rook b1, castle's queenside. I played king e2, h5. Bro, what is with this mosque call, man? I don't know. Like, are there mosques in Argentina? Am I missing something? I have a lot of questions about this country. I didn't know that there were mosques here. I didn't know that they had mosque calls at Mondays at 3 p.m. All right, yeah, so in this position, I could do a bunch of things. G4 would also be fine. I definitely could have gained space this way. The most important thing in this position is that you just stay patient and you don't try to win from the get-go. Just try to make incremental improvements. Computer is saying this is dead equal, this position, like 0.13 at high depths it's saying, but I don't care what it says. This position is very winnable. And, you know, that was evidenced by the fact that I won this endgame relatively easily. I played g3 here, f5, king f3. You just got to be patient. Also notice that all of my pawns are on dark squares, or almost all of them are on dark squares, but as long as my bishop has an open diagonal and my bishop has some good post to think about posting itself on. At the moment, e5 is the only outpost, but if he ever pushes b5, my bishop could install itself on c5. As long as your bishop has some good outposts in which it's going to have good diagonals, it doesn't matter if you break the rule of having all your pawns on the same color. Not to mention, it's not like his knight can use all these squares easily. This is the only square that his knight can really use. If it ever comes here, I could kick it out. I don't really want to ever push this pawn because then d4 is going to get weak. So I'm going to leave this pawn back. His knight is going to be decent here, but that's the best score on the board for it. It's not going to have many other options. Dude played king c7, g4. Apparently g4 is inaccurate. I should play rook b3 here. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't need to rush. Honestly, this g4 move rushes a bit. I'm always going to have this in the future. He can't do anything. There's really no reason for me to play this move just yet. I should just continue building up. So g4 takes, g6, g5. Bro played a6. I thought that was a big mistake. Yeah, he needs to be able to mobilize this queen side. He needs to be able to push b6 or b5 at some point. I understand what he was trying to do, right? He wants to play b5 and get his pawns rolling, but now I play a5 and I split his pawns in half. If he ever wants to try to make anything happen on his queen side, he's going to have to split his pawns like this. His pawns are both weak. I also get a beautiful outpost now for my bishop. This is just a really bad position. These pawns are going to be much weaker than they are potentially strong. Even though this is technically a passed pawn here, it's just not correctly situated. Computer's pointing out this beautiful move here, bishop b4, threatening bishop a5 is an idea. Also, I have ideas of rook a1 just to double now. This is a disastrous position for him. Notice that in spite of me having all my pawns on the same color, it's all about relative weaknesses, right? All of these pawns are weak. g6 is also actually pretty weak if my rook can get in. Yeah. This was interesting. So anyway, I rushed with rook h6. This is definitely a miss. Yeah, ultimately I just broke my own rule. I just said I was supposed to be patient here, and I was not patient at all. I could just improve with bishop c5. If I play rook h6, I allow him to clarify the situation. I should still be better here, but it's going to be a lot trickier. Yeah, where is the win here? Bishop c5. If he ever takes here, my rook is threatening to invade on a lot of squares. This is going to be really difficult. If he plays rook g8, he's holding on to g6, but now I play rook h7. My bishop is coming in. He can't really do anything here. I'm just going to slowly install my pieces. I'm going to first put my bishop on e5 to have it slice through here like a slice of pizza. Then I could even start thinking about moving my king in. Another idea I could have is now that his pieces are already so tied down here, he has no way to feasibly pressure the d pawn. I could now think about playing d3 and e4. This would be completely winning. Yeah, I slipped on a banana peel. I played rook h6. He took rook h8, rook h1, king d7. I thought I had to play h7 here. What's the computer pointing out? King e2? Well, king e2, what about if knight f6, though? I didn't see this. Rook b1, king c7, d5. Oh, yeah, now d5. I completely missed this. I saw this idea in other positions. This is beautiful to look at this. Knight takes d5. We play rook h1. I'm going to play h7 here. He can't play knight f6 because of bishop b2. And, well, what if rook h7, though? Rook h7, bishop b2. I think I'm just going to install my bishop on g7. That's wild. Look at this. We just installed the bishop here. Rook is completely tied down. My rook can start harvesting the pawns. I could go for this pawn or this pawn. Black's knight will have to try to move around to e8 to dislodge it, but it's just going to take too long. Knight e8, rook takes g6. How is he ever going to solve this? This is just such a disastrous position here. Like king e7, king d3, king f7. This is really beautiful. Look at this. He can't even take here, I think. Yeah, if he takes, he's up a pawn. It doesn't matter, though. I'm going to harvest this pawn here. He has no way to run a pass pawn up the board. I'm going to get this b pawn. I'm going to get the a pawn. It's going to be a very easy win. That's wild. All right, so wait, let me just digest this a bit more. King e2, knight f6, rook b1, king c7, d5. Yeah, if he takes this way, we play bishop b2, rook f8, and then what? Check, king c8, rook g1. Yeah, his rook is too tied down here. I'm just going to break through and win this pawn. I'm probably going to win this next pawn. This pawn is going to be a runner as well. There's not going to be any way for him to really stop it. Wow, this is just really concrete. This is really concrete chess. What about if he takes here, though? Then I take. Yeah, look at this. That's wild. And if check, I just play king d3, knight e4. I would never have assumed that this is that simple. Computer is saying this is just completely winning. I would never assume that. It does look, yeah, my pawn is getting to e7, though. Once my pawn gets to e7, his pieces are going to have to start getting very passive. Already, he's going to have to be passively watching this. He also has to be passively watching this. My rook is covering d2, so now I can just play king d4, king e5. Yeah, this is completely over. This is wild stuff, though. I never would have assumed this. This is teaching me a lot about chess, honestly. So I played h7. That's a blunder. Knight f6, rook h6. I went for this pawn. I thought I still had a lot of pressure here, though. He always has to watch out. He only has one pawn to really target, and it's pretty much impossible to target, though. I don't even know why I just said that. He can't target this. Yeah, if he played knight e4, I could just play something like d3. Or I was going to play, I'm not sure what I was going to play, actually. I was going to think about playing d3, but then rook h3 here, takes, he gets this. So this isn't good. What was I going to do here? I guess I was just going to play king e2 to keep everything covered. And then he checks a little bit. Yeah. No, sorry, he has knight b1 here. Yeah, I got to be a little more careful. Knight c3, I would have to play something like king f2, and I guess this is just a draw now. Yeah, knight d1, king g2. This is a mess. My pawns are getting fractured, but his pieces are really discoordinated. I at least have perpetual check like this. I think I could keep playing, though. Yeah, computer's saying I could keep playing. Even though I'm down 2 pawns here, his pieces are really locked out. We could try to hunt down his pawns with something like rook e7. This is a bizarre position, though. It would take me a lot to win this. I would need to win this one, then win this one, and start marching the f-pawn down the board. All right. So yeah, he plays knight d5, king e2, check. Bro tries to be sneaky, right? If king d3, then he takes and plays check, and he's now all of a sudden winning. Just out of nowhere. Maybe he's not winning. No, he is winning. Sorry, he's going to get this pawn next. This is too soon, and my checks don't do anything. He's just going to hide in the corner. Check, 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 check. His king hides here, and he's ultimately going to collect this pawn here. I could do this and win 1 pawn back, but I don't have any passed pawns here. There's no way to make use of my active-looking king. He has 2 passed pawns here. This is going to be an easy win for him. All right. Luckily, though, I spotted it. I played king d1, played rook h7, king c2, knight c7, rook g8. Threatening rook b8. Bro didn't really notice what I was up to. Bro just plays knight c7. He should have tried knight d6 here. This looks very tricky, though, for him to handle, though. I think Already, it looks very comfortable for me. I would play something like king d3 here. Yeah, computer's saying knight e8 is equal, but this is just always a little bit tricky. I'm going to slowly improve. I could play bishop b6, king c3, d3. I could also play king c3 here, like even knight e4. I don't think this is that simple. Yeah, computer is now saying that this is winning, which is pretty shocking. I'm threatening king b6 if king c7. What do I have here? Rook g6, aiming at this. Rook e7, d3. He's in zugzwang. That's wild. King d7, my king breaks in. If rook e8, I play check. That's completely bananas. Yeah, this blob of pawns, man. This blob of pawns gives me a lot of tempi. Also, even if he dawdles, I could just play e4 and start creating passed pawns over on this side. Yeah, that's wild. All right. Anyway, dude played knight c7, and now he's just losing. I play rook b8. This is the end of the game. I guess he was going to try knight d5. I would take here, bishop b6, tie him down completely, king c8. I could just go to an endgame. The pawn ending should be winning here. I'm up a pawn. Also, I have a lot of tempi with this. I would just do something like this, king d3, something like king d7, king c4, king d6, d3. And I have unlimited tempi with these pawns pretty much. I'll play e4 here, and bro is already in zugzwang. If he plays this, then I have this, and this is easily the end of the game. Meanwhile, if he goes here, I'll just go here and harvest this pawn. Takeaway number one is you got to be a little careful about this knight e5 idea. This knight e5 idea is very tricky. The idea is that takes queen h4. In the game, this actually wasn't a problem for me. If I just played correctly, I should have played queen f2 and then mobilized quickly with rook b1, aiming at the b pawn and also creating ideas of rook b4 to leap over. But even so, it is generally, this is a very advanced tactical motif that a lot of people have hit me with. I think at this point now, it's been 5 times that I've seen this. The second takeaway is that when you have the blob of pawns, you should be playing patiently and not rushing. In this type of position, I just needed to play slowly. I could have played rook b3 and rook b1. In these positions where you have a super flexible pawn structure, you want to keep everything you want to keep everything flexible. And what I mean by that is that you don't want to cash out your chips that soon. I got antsy and I played for g4 really quickly. There was no need for me to play for g4 quickly. I should have just built up. Computer was saying I could play rook b3 and start building up on the queen side. Yeah, in situations where you have a very flexible pawn structure, it's fine to push your pawns, but you normally want to get the most out of your position first. Like improve your pieces, and then make a pawn move, and then go back to improving your pieces a lot. There was no reason for me to rush as I did with g4. Because the more you clarify the pawn structure, the easier you make your opponent's defensive task. In this position, I have literally like 10 different ways I could use these pawns. I could push h4 and just leave it like that. I could push e4, takes, and get this ugly structure. I could push d3 and push e4. I could push g4. I could also just leave the structure intact. I could play rook e1 to push e4. All of these are leading to completely different types of positions. And if our opponent has to have all of those different positions just jumbling around his head, that's a lot more psychologically difficult than if we just clarify everything, right? If I immediately do this and let him head to this position, then already I'm making it a lot simpler. Half of the positions that I just mentioned, we can no longer reach. So he no longer has to worry about those. So yeah, long story short,
Time to go!